chocolate dip family and friends. Boy, do I have something for you today. Like,
I'm scared.
Oh my gosh. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're thriving. And I've been consulting my research assistant, consulting the Lord, and trying to pull something out. I know I have something to share with y'all, but trying to pull something out of just like an incident in American history that is like kind of, it's like when you look back on something that happened in history and you think, how could that have happened? But then if you are, if you have the humility to think that that could happen to any people group at any time in history, I think you have the capacity to see it in your own culture. Maybe even, maybe you yourself were even caught up in such a movement. And I have one of those to share with you today that is had incidences in this thing as recently as April 2025. Now, before I begin, Lauren, would you like to greet the family?
Oh, I haven't spoken yet.
Yeah, you haven't said a word.
Oh.
That's me.
Hi.
That's messed up.
I had my eyes on my dungeon music I wanted to play.
I don't know why. This is a bad habit. I don't know why I do this, but like whenever I want to like open the podcast or open something, I always like push the reveal back as far as possible. I don't know why it's stupid, so I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna just say what it is just immediately. But okay, so
well,
yeah. What?
To be fair, not honest, because we don't say that on this podcast because we're always honest. We're trying to get that out of our dialogue with each other, BT dub. But yep, I did it.
Yeah,
you knew.
okay.
You looked at me, and I knew.
No, I didn't. Every time Lauren like makes a caveat, I know she's gonna forget what she was saying. Yep. Every time. So
all gone. Blink head.
There's
little fuzzies up there.
There was so if you don't know what furries are like, it's like a subculture of people who will wear animal costumes. These costumes are not cheap, but they'll wear animal costumes. They'll act like animals. They'll vibe out. There can be an erotic. There can be an erotic component to furries, but I've learned more recently that
odd timing.
I've learned more recently that is not necessarily always the case. I mean, it's just like anime culture, right? There can be an eroticism with anime, you know.
Yeah, but it's not all things.
Yeah,
we did a podcast on that one.
If I go to Sakura-Con,
Sakura-Con,
I'm not trying to get laid, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, for obvious reasons.
I hope not.
Yeah, but I'm.
Jeez, you're not allowed to go.
I'm saying that's not on my mind. That's not on my mind. I'm coming for, the panel on, Gundam Wing 30 years later. So.
Oh, okay.
The story I have to share with you guys today, we're going to go through a timeline of events. Thank you, research assistant. I got clips to share of how a rumor about kids and furries in Canada turned into legislation in America. Now,
what?
This legislation has not.
Okay, that's also a weird sentence because you're already saying something happened in Canada and then we legislated something in America.
Yeah, it's honestly.
Huh?
A lot of people have talked about this and covered it. It's honestly, like, to me, more psychotic than I feel like the general public has given it credence to. Let me say one thing at the outset.
Okay.
In my research for this, and of course, I know the culture we live in is just insane, so I expected this. But there, and I really want to say this, particularly for Christians. There's a passage in the Bible where the angel shows up in the Old Testament. I forget who it was to, but the person that he shows up to asks him, whose side are you on? Ours or theirs? And the angel says neither. Like he's on God's side. I feel like that's the mindset that Christians should have when it comes to like everything. We are on the side of righteousness. And I don't mean that in the sense of like we're Anakin, right? High ground. Even though technically, yes, that when you become a Christian, you do become Anakin Skywalker. You know what I'm saying? But you use that to lift people up, right?
Anyone else got any questions?
Use that to lift people up so that they can see things more clearly. And as many people as we can lift up on this podcast, as many people we can keep from dissolving into Darth Vader on this podcast. Like, I really wanted to do that. But I say that because I notice a lot of very predictable criticism because the hysteria is exclusively right-leaning, conservative, Republican, whatever. And it revolves around, I guess you could say revolves around gender ideology. Here's the thing. Those who would criticize Republicans or conservatives for their just buying into this hysteria from the position of like, y'all are being hateful. Like, how could you guys believe this? Let's not forget that gender ideology itself is insane.
Well,
So
some people thought maybe I was playing favorites with hot dogs.
We'll say that.
I didn't know where that was. I didn't know where that was going, to be honest. And in the afterglow of that sound file, I still don't quite understand what the reasoning was, but you're the genius, and I trust you.
Yes.
So
I don't even.
Don't explain yourself. Don't explain the genius. Just be a genius. Let us figure you out. Don't condescend. In saying this, like, let's not forget that before there was the furries hysteria, there was the hysteria of, I'll just say, gender ideology. And I don't say it to like hurt anybody's feelings, but it is crazy to think that there are actually more than two genders. Like, that is crazy. And I don't mean that again, like, no hate. Like, if I met, like, I've had friends who have been confused about their identity. I myself was very confused about my identity for 20 some years of my life. You know what I'm saying? So, like, again, I'm not trying to like prove myself necessarily in saying this, but I just know some people get in their feelings when you say stuff that aligns with reality, unfortunately. So
I know some people just hate our dreams,
hate our visions, and even our prophecies. Come on, thank you. So, with that said, anybody can get it today. Anybody can get it, okay? And I hope that everybody comes out of this with a bigger heart. A bigger heart. So without further ado, this is the tale of the Furries Act. So there's a bill that was recently,
like, what are we talking?
March or April, I believe.
Okay, of this year.
Yes.
Okay.
Proposed in Texas, called the Furries Act. Now, furries actually stands for something.
Oh, it doesn't mean...
No, well,
furries.
It's a play on...
Okay, yeah. But governments love to do acronyms.
Mm-hmm. It's a play on the actual, phenomenon of furries.
Yeah.
But furries stands for... So it's HB number 4814, otherwise known as the Forbidding Unlawful Representation of Role-Playing in Education.
It's so boring.
Which is insane. And it was introduced by somebody named San Gerdez. I don't know if that's Hispanic, Spanish. What do you think? What's the over-under on San Gerdez?
I can't see the name, so I don't know.
What? Gerdez.
Gerdez.
What ethnicity is Stan Gerdez?
I don't know.
All right, let's find out. Stan Gerdez. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, wait. 5th generation Texan? Okay, yeah. Okay. I don't. What is a 5th generation Texan? Do people like say what gen they are of a state?
So specifically Texas,
I feel like
they actually do say
I feel like that must
so
be-
and so
yeah, that
generations
must be a
because
Texas
they're
thing.
really big into like long legacy families.
Yeah, I've never heard.
And there's a
say,
lot of like farmland and ranch land and big families that are out there.
I've never heard someone say like third generation Washingtonian. So yeah, I believe you. I'm tempted
I've
to
seen
believe
it
you.
in old movies
I'm
where they'll be
tempted to
like,
believe
I'm
you.
a third generation blah, and it usually is like a movie that's based
I'm
in Texas.
tempted.
Well, be tempted.
So to understand how we got from rumor to legislation,
Yes, please.
let's start in October 2021.
Bring out the spells.
In Prince Edward Island, Canada.
Okay.
And now this was the first known incident of quote unquote furries in schools. Now this rumor surfaced after social media chatter claimed a school had put a litter box in a restroom for a student identifying as a cat. School officials initially thought it was a yoke, but the misinformation spread, and the public school apparently being unable to find the source of this rumor.
Within themselves.
Yeah, or within the school. Just said,
Okay.
hey, like we can't find anything, like we can't find any evidence that somebody in the school district did actually do this. So they just dismiss it as this is just not true. And he
Which is
suggested,
valid.
so off rip.
So
What's up?
the first sentence you said, who found this? What was the first part? Sorry.
This was just an incident in Prince Edward Island, Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you said a person or something.
No. And I actually have the original article. I don't know if there's anything useful in this article though. So this was a message from the public school on Facebook. A message from director of the PSB. For several months now, public schools branch has fielded calls, been sent emails, and been pointed to numerous social media posts that make broad sweeping assertions regarding students who identify as cats. Many of these assertions claim that schools have or are in the process of having litter boxes placed in schools. This claim, as well as many others, are simply false and are causing unnecessary stress to the students and staff.
Stress to the students.
They went on to
I
say,
highly
yeah,
doubt it's stressing the students out. They're probably dying laughing
I mean,
and having a lot of fun. The staff is probably stressed as crud.
Yes. They added.
Nice try to like throw that in there
Yeah,
to make
like,
people
this is-
feel bad about
guys,
kids.
This is really weighing
It's causing
down.
the kids to be scared.
Yeah. Exactly. They added, it seems to me like this was a backlash against some of the progressive things that our schools are doing, and we would have many that would say it is rooted in hate and transphobia and homophobia. And that message needs to be clear. It's not acceptable. Now, as I alluded to earlier, that's the part where I think there's
Where's the through line for furries to transphobic?
So what he's saying is this is a response to people who would say, well, if you're allowing people to identify as fill in the blank, what's stopping them from identifying as an animal? Like
Right.
We wouldn't treat our children who identify as non-human entities according to their identity. So why are you treating students according to their misapplied or whatever confusion about themselves?
Okay.
That's what they would say. Which I think is a valid analogy. It does paint the picture accurately.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is the limitation of the analogy, because I do think it is a little bit more extreme to identify as something that isn't human, if that makes sense. But some people might dispute that, and that's fine too.
That'd be
Including the person sitting next to me may actually dispute that.
no.
Okay.
I would dispute that.
Okay. So we continue.
Thinking you're a different sex versus thinking you're an animal is kind of a leap.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you. Okay, right.
Because
It's like the leap from SAR. Like it's like the leap.
you clearly see your parents and what they are.
Right.
If you think that about yourself, you would have to think, these are not my parents, and I was born in a very weird way. And then you would kind of like have to contemplate that whole process, which is just dark and scary.
Oh
And
my gosh.
then everyone would feel adopted. It's just odd.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
So
That's accurate. That's accurate.
that's
Thank
a
you.
no.
Okay, thank you. Now we continue. December 20th, 2021, around this time at least.
Okay.
Michigan. So this was in Michigan. Now, much like the leap of SARS-CoV-2 from bird to human, this is when the rumor leapt from Canada to America. The hoax entered the U.S. media via a school board meeting in Midland, Michigan. During public comments, a parent claimed she was disturbed that one school had, quote, placed a litter box for kids that identify as cats in a unisex bathroom. This allegation spread quickly on Facebook, known breeding ground of non-reality, Facebook, and local groups. In response, on January 20th, 2022, Midland Superintendent Michael Sharrow emailed families emphatically denying the rumor, stating, "There is no truth whatsoever to this false statement. There have never been litter boxes within MPS schools." The district clarified that no such accommodations existed. Now, let me pause for a second.
Accommodations, love that word.
Let me pause for a second and ask you a question.
We not playing no more. It's time to get the school done.
Apropos, it's time to get the litter box done. I have a question. No matter your views on, and I'm not saying you, but like,
okay, you're just asking our chocolate dip.
I'm trying to put myself in someone else's shoes.
Putting it out there.
No, I am asking you though, but yes, I'm proposing this question.
Okay.
No matter your views on gender ideology, do you feel it is a leap to envision an adult putting a litter box in a unisex bathroom for kids? Just the sheer, like, put yourself in their shoes. Imagine going to PetSmart, buying the most eco-friendly or just green litter, kitty litter,
some
the
nice
most
granules.
Yeah. Taking that back to school, saying to the handing the receipt to the principal so that they can write it off on their taxes. Getting a plastic bin, unzipping the bag, coughing because like the fumes from the litter, there's like a litter dust or whatever. Coughing.
Not if you got eco-friendly litter. That's
True.
part of that's part of the plus. No death dust.
Oh my gosh. Putting it in like
that's what they put on the box.
Putting it in a bin that, maybe that you used to use it for like graded papers. Filling it up with cat litter. Walking to the bathroom, probably walking past some students who are asking, like, what are you doing with that? And just like kind of feeling uncomfortable, like, oh, it's just going to go in the bathroom. And they don't ask why because like it's almost so insane that it just kind of goes over their head. Setting it down in the unisex bathroom and leaving. Like at any point during that entire thing, A to Z, would you at some point just have an out-of-body experience and say, what am I doing? Or do you think you could be of such detachment from reality that you can do that and not think twice about what you're doing? Like, is there a human alive who could do that with a straight face?
When you're setting it all up as it's a separate bathroom from like the normal bathroom scheme that they have there, and it's in a unisex bathroom, is it... admittedly, my mind goes to safety and stuff. Is it a single person bathroom?
Yeah, I would imagine the unisex is a solo bathroom. Yeah,
the solo bathroom. Okay, well then
that's the only place you could put it. Really, you can't, because if it's
I'm still kind of caught up in the logistics, because how narrow would the litter box have to be to fit in between a child's legs to be able to use it?
Yeah, it's very impractical for
an
adult.
This is already feeling like an II infraction to talk
about
this. But
I mean, that's part of why I think like it's kind of absurd to think
now that I'm actually thinking about like, how would you even fashion a human-sized litter box? Like, do you make it giant and then they step in it and pee in it? And then who changes it and how often? Because once you do your business, and like, God forbid a child poops in it, like, so, that's just massively unsanitary.
I guess what you're saying, Lauren, is why I find it so hard to comprehend that another adult could think that somebody just did the scenario I laid out.
I mean, you didn't give me much to go off of when you first started, so it's kind of why I've been quiet and waiting to like have this all unfold.
It was okay. We're all going.
But now that we're on this journey and I'm pondering the legitimacy of a human-sized litter box, that alone is kind of enough to shatter it for me.
Okay, well, don't cave because of me. Let the evidence speak for itself.
I do feel like in today's day and age and how much control, like, gripping the necks of the poor school districts, I do feel like there could be a person who would just do this.
You feel like we live in we've created the petri dish where this type
Oh,
of
100%.
Okay.
I started out by
that's
saying
honest.
that when you first opened with
That's
this,
honest.
so I'll just reveal that.
That's honest.
I very much was like, I don't see where the hole is. This just seems feasible. It's basically what I said.
I respect you. That's
Like,
honest. That's honest.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
continue. We don't need to get caught up in this
No, you're
party
fine.
right now.
So February 2022.
So I am confused.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get clarity. February 2022 in Iowa. The litter box rumor popped up in other communities in Carroll, Iowa. Similar claims spread that students who identify as cats were allowed litter boxes at school. I don't know what were allowed litter boxes, like a multiplicity of litter boxes, like our kids bringing their own litter boxes to school.
Kids were allowed to
and
bring
then peeing of their own volition. This doesn't
and
make
then
any
storing
sense to me.
in class. I mean, yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It became so prevalent that the local superintendent felt compelled to send another letter on February 7th to all parents debunking the hoax.
A 7th of
I feel like debunk.
What year?
I feel like the
Sorry.
word debunk in this context is like giving too much validity. It's giving too much prestige to something that is inherently insane.
I mean, if you have something weird going on with your kids and you already know that the public school has been fiending and doing dummy things.
Okay, so hold on. Let me stop you. Do you think it would? Does it adhere to the rules of reality for me to debunk the hoax of if you say Bloody Mary 3 times at midnight in your mirror, a woman will come out of your mirror with a knife and unalive you? Does that need to? Is debunking the right word for that? Like saying, hey, that's not actually going to happen. Did I debunk the claim that
by going on camera and like doing it or something? Debunking. So that's the part that points out that this poor staff has been harassed in a big way.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
I'm saying there's so much craziness.
Okay.
And if my kid was in public school and they've already been doing some wacky things, yeah, sure. I might be calling like every hour on the hour until they're like, no, can you find out where this is coming from? Okay. Like, are kids doing this themselves behind the things outside?
I feel like I'm getting to know more of your like vulnerabilities. So
I'm a paranoid person, and I err on the side of everything horrible. So
God is showing me how I can lead you more specific to your needs. So
almost all rumors have some modicum amount of reality. So
what's the modicum in Bloody Mary?
That maybe
standing in front of your mirror at midnight is scary.
Maybe if you,
how about that?
Well, I mean, legit, I've tried to do this before, like multiple times, just because I thought I should like prove to myself it wasn't. And I still haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, I respect that. The superintendent in the letter wrote, "This is simply and emphatically not true," calling the rumor absurd. Okay, and don't need to get into it again, but this superintendent also echoed this comes from hate.
What'd you say?
Echoed. From this comes from hate. It is of hate that this rumor started.
He said, "Okay, yeah, same thing.
Same genres.
Be quiet, you crazy people."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we jump to March
in a
28th
professional way.
And 29th.
So you're saying February and then March. What years are these?
I got you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and let me read. So this is March 28th, 29th, 2022 in Nebraska. The myth entered state government discourse. During a televised Nebraska legislature debate on March 28th, State Senator Bruce Bosselman, Republican, said that he was shocked by stories of students dressing as cats and dogs in schools and alleged that, quote, schools were accommodating these students by putting litter boxes in schools for these children to use. Now, here's the crazy part. Here's this part. This is when I have less sympathy. So it says, he even recounted an unverified story that a student defecated on a classroom floor after a school refused to provide a litter box. Now, let's listen to the man himself. I got a clip for us here. Let's listen to the man himself. Here's a Let me find it. Wow, I thought I had one. And where the fruit? Oh, no, I do got one. Yeah, it's right here. I got it's right here, y'all.
Ooh.
Here it is. Let me unmute this bad boy.
I guess is what I would put it. It's called, and I'm a little shocked, I guess is what I would put it. It's called something called furries. If you don't know what furries are, it's where school children dress up as animals, cats or dogs, during the school day. They meow and they bark, and they interact with their school, with the teachers and that in this fashion. And now schools are wanting to put litter boxes in the schools for these children to use. How is this sanitary? I'm going to have a discussion with CEO Smith about this. This is something I think.
I'm just laughing because he kept pausing for effect, like waiting for people to go, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. Also, how old is this dummy? Because it's not just dogs and cats, it's anything. It's a furry animal. Yeah. Duh.
Yeah. Oh, like the fur. Yeah, right.
It's anything.
How can
fur.
schools allow this to happen? I think it's very disruptive within the school system. I think it's very disruptive within the classes.
Huh?
He meant to say disruptive.
He said disruptive, but then he said it's very disruptive.
He said disrupted. Because
I think it's very disruptive within the classes. Mm-hmm. I even heard from one person here recently said that a student identified as a cat and wanted a litter box, and the school didn't provide the litter box, so the student went ahead and defecated on the floor. Really?
Okay. It's. I'm gonna be real with you. It's really hard.
Countdown to poop.
It's really hard for me to be charitable. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that thought.
Okay.
School administrators, what is going on? Nebraska Department of Education, what is going on? State Board of Education, what is going on? If some kids can't wear American flag to walk through the school on their shirt.
You did not say that. You did not say that.
In Nebraska, that's definitely not something that they don't allow, right?
I have no clue.
Like, what the heck?
And you keep them out of school? And you kick them out of school, but it's okay if they wear a cat costume? And that's fine, and you have a litter box for them? And that's fine? And I'm a little shocked.
Okay.
So...
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Just super quick.
Yes.
Why on earth in this public forum would you go, what about you, and then you, and then you? Like professionally calling people out in a weird setting without having verified any of this.
That's why it's really hard for me to like be charitable. I just can't imagine
because he's actually berating people based off of air.
That's exactly like I can't imagine taking this at face value. It's too crazy.
I said, sorry for knocking your hat off. Here's mine.
I can't imagine hearing somebody say a student took his pants off and crapped on the floor because they wouldn't get him a litter box, and just assuming that that's true. And here's why I really think that this is more sinister. Like, aside from just being absolutely insane, it's also kind of like sinister. I think that it requires you to think so little of another human being, not the kid, but I guess whoever you see as your enemy, that you think that the schools are so quote unquote woke or yeah, they probably would use the word woke, that they would tolerate this type of behavior to the point where a kid feels he has the he has access granted to pulling down his pants in the classroom and pooping. Like, it just requires you to borderline hate a certain section of the country. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would.
No.
Oh, you don't understand what I mean. So, no. if I heard that you went on an unaliving spree, okay, let's say I know generally what's happened over the course of your life, where you've worked, the friends you made, I have a general idea, and like there's nothing disruptive in your life. Like, you're just a regular person. Then I hear one day that you went on an unaliving spree where you sucked on candy canes until they were needle sharp, and you stuck them in the necks of whoever wished you Merry Christmas, and so the town's talking about like the Christmas unalivings where you sucked candy canes, needle sharp, and nuked people with them, and I just said, oh yeah, she would do that. Like, what have you done in your life that would make that okay? Number one, the thought of somebody sucking candy canes needle sharp is already insane. So like that should be like a red flag of like the rest of everything else you're about to hear is BS.
I do kind of like to do that. So if you don't know me well enough,
there should be some type of safety checks and balances in my mind that say, hang on a second, could you actually suck a candy cane needle sharp?
Yes, you can.
And kill somebody with it?
I mean, I don't know about the kill part.
Right. So that should already be a clue that like you're being had. For me to choose to override that, I have to think that you as a person are like basically the devil. Because it requires me to skip something that is darn near a violation of just how the natural world works.
And like, yeah,
okay. You get what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. So it's taking a very baseless, weird scenario that's so off the wall, and then just assuming
kids at scale are not pulling down their pants in class and defecating. And if they are. And this isn't like I don't mean this.
And also, that could be someone with an actual problem.
I was about to say that exactly. I was just about. Yes.
If this story is based off of an incident of that happening, because that could very much happen.
Yes, this person might have like a mental disability.
Yes,
and so the entire thing must be reframed in the like, context of you have somebody who has special needs.
Well, and also let's keep this story a little more private.
Exactly.
And,
Thank you.
Why on earth are we basing a whole?
Yes.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Okay.
Yes.
So I need to add
very mindful.
I need to add the context. The next day, the guy who we just listened to publicly retracted and apologized for his remarks.
Wait, the next day the guy we just listened to did?
Yes.
The very next day?
Yes. The very next day.
Also, what setting was that?
This was in like a Senate hearing.
Obviously.
This is like in a place of power. This was in a power center.
That's why it was recorded and we can easily find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
After checking with the education, shouldn't he have done that first? But whatever. After checking with the education committee chair and finding no such incidents existed, his floor speech, however, had already gone viral, illustrating how far-fetched the narrative had become. So yeah, of course, these things. It's cool when you apologize, but nobody sticks around for the retraction.
I need to hear that.
The apology?
As someone who has foot and mouth syndrome and usually dives first.
Got you.
I'm pocketing that idea in my life.
Now we continue into the spring-summer of 2022. The furries rumor had persisted in conservative circles. Variations of the tale cropped up multiple times. In April 2022, at least 3 Minnesota Republican legislators claimed they'd heard of schools allowing litter boxes or kids identifying as animals. And of course, these allegations were always like he said, she said, I heard X. Brenda
like
told
no
me.
Names,
yeah,
no
exactly.
actual
nothing
times,
specific. Yeah,
no teachers involved that they know of. Okay.
By mid-2022, school districts in states like Illinois, Kentucky, and Tennessee were fielding and dismissing identical rumors. Each time one district refuted the claim, it would reemerge in another county, showing a pattern.
I mean, some teenager out there is just like was having a field day and laughing.
Yeah. Some mastermind.
Yeah. Some slight hacker that had like the ability to plant something.
Some copy pasta author.
Yeah.
Some meme
lord.
Let's jump to late August 2022. United States Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican of Georgia, injected the hoax into national politics. At a rally for President Trump, former at the time, but now President Trump, speaking in Pennsylvania, Greene claimed that children were using litter boxes at school and needed to be stopped, framing it as an example of extreme, quote, woke behavior. This, I feel like, reinforces my point about you got to think the worst of your enemies in order to believe this. I did skip something. I must have scrolled too far. Before we get to the Marjorie Taylor Greene clip, back in January 22, so the same year actually, so not timeline still, where the timeline is still locked down. The Midland story that we had mentioned earlier went viral. A popular conservative Twitter account, Libs of TikTok, which some of you may have heard of, posted a video of the Maryland board meeting, which a concerned mommy, I believe, mentioned how she'd heard that this had been happening in the school. So let's listen to a Squarespace ad. Just kidding. Here is that meeting in question.
But yesterday I heard something, and I was stunned. And today I am equally stunned and a little bit upset. Well, not a little bit, a lot of bit upset, furious. I would even use that word. But I want to talk about the fact that, and I know this is going on nationwide, so it is not just for this board, but our community needs to understand that the agenda that is being pushed through our schools is just my opinion, but somewhat nefarious when it comes to some of the activities. So let's talk about furries.
No, you had it right the first time. By the way, before we continue, okay, actually, this was posted 12 days ago, so this might be more recent, actually. My research assistant says this is from 2022, but the timestamp on this, it's from Michigan. Midland? Where's Midland? Yeah, this is Michigan. Yeah, I'm not sure. This might have been reposted. Okay, we'll just assume that this is from 2022.
It was addressed by a child a couple months ago that they are put in an environment where there are kids that identify as a furry, a cat or a dog, whatever. And so yesterday I heard that at least one of our schools in our town has in one of the unisex bathrooms, a litter box for the kids that identify as cats. And I am really disturbed by that. And I will do some.
The kids that identify as cats, plural.
Yeah.
More than one kid.
Mm-hmm. For all of those kids.
I just feel like as a human being, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Since you got any, advice for our cats out here?
More investigation on that. I know it's going on nationwide. I know it is. It's part of the agenda that's being pushed. I don't even want to understand it. But I think that people need to be aware of it, because I am really upset as a parent that my child is put in an environment like that. And I'm all for creativity and imagination, but when someone lives in a fantasy world and expects other people to go along with it, I have a problem with that. So I'm just putting that out there. I will.
Well, then what does that say of like night play or like boffing? Or that's a fantasy
What does
world.
this say about a lot of different things? It's kind of like.
I feel like a lot of fantasy is wanting people to play along with you.
Yeah.
Isn't it like imagination play?
Like D&D? Is she against that?
She's not for it. I mean, she might actually not be for
That's
D&D.
what I'm saying. I feel like this is the wrong person to be talking about this. Like someone who's a little bit more locked in should probably have looked into it.
Oh my gosh.
We'll investigate more. But as far as the Test to Stay program, the government does not have the right to regulate we the people under the guise of keeping us safe or to protect us from one another when it comes to our health and welfare.
Okay, she might be talking about something different now.
Okay.
Yeah.
When she puts her glasses on the end of her nose and then adjusts her perfect like Chanel looking sweater and pulls it tight and like stands straighter, I'm sorry, she's like playing into the stereotype of
someone, right, yeah.
Someone
like Karen,
who would be upset about
yes.
these things.
Yes. Okay, so I guess like that I think accurately kind of like gives you. I mean, I'm sure you've met this type of mommy, maybe. Like concerned mommy, like just ready to I need to keep my kids safe. Like the type of person who I think is susceptible to this type of.
Ooh, what are you saying? Are you anti-mom or anti-feminist?
No, but I do feel like there is
I should say.
I mean, this is like a voting block, actually. Like security mom. I forget there's actually a word for it.
Okay.
But it's like the mom that would be vulnerable to putting someone in office who is going to make sure that their kids are safe, I guess. To like,
sure.
And obviously the bare desire of one of your kids to be safe is totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. But there can be an obsession with safety that leads you to believe things like this.
I mean, I've already warned you of some things that I see in the pipeline once we have kids. So
oh my gosh,
you're gonna have to pray over me.
Oh my gosh.
But I also, just on a large scale, and this doesn't even need to be said, but sure. I'm gonna say it.
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
I don't put my child's safety in the hands of anyone other than like me and God
Lord,
and.
Oh, so you're superseding the Lord?
I mean, God, and then me.
Yeah, right.
You know, well, but I mean, I don't necessarily plan to take advantage of the public school system. Well, because it scares me for other reasons. Well, but I grew up as a homeschooler. Yeah. That, you know, identified as a cat when I was in my formative years.
So later that year, back to
I want somewhere that's litterbox friendly.
Oh my gosh.
For my child.
Back to the Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's another U.S. representative, was at a Trump rally, and of course you can imagine a Trump rally is going to be a place where anything and everything we can use to quote unquote own the libs, regardless of whether it's true or not. If it inflames the audience, let's bring it to the fore. Here is such an example.
There was a school in Texas that someone identified, you ready for this, for a cat. And they made them put out a litter box. I thought it was something from The Onion. Absolutely true.
Wow.
That is because our principal.
It's retroactively funny hearing them both say absolutely true.
Okay.
Something that is absolutely not true.
So scary loud.
Yeah, sorry.
I like lost my skin.
Yeah, it's okay.
Schools don't stand up anymore.
Right.
You know, back my parents were in education, so if that would have been brought up, they would have been slapped the hell out of the classroom.
Anti-traditionalism that's happening right now is on every level, it seems like.
No, they're embracing lies. I mean, literally embracing lies. Hey, if some student wants to pretend like a cat and use a litter box after school, that's their prerogative, whatever. But no, the school and the school resources and the other students and teachers should not have to be put through that because it's a lie. Yeah. And we have to reject them. It's not about people's feelings. It's about the truth and rejecting the lies. And we have to stand up.
Okay, what is this Trump's kids guide on the right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you guys can't see this, but there's like a kids book that's kids guide to President Trump, and it's like a Trump with his thumb up. Now because I'm kind of going through a lot of I'm naming states very casually, school districts around the country very casually. It may be lost on you guys to an extent how prolific this is becoming at this point. Like
I would even say the fact that it went from 2021 to 2022 and it was like a completely different state was like bizarre.
The fact that it showed up at a Trump rally.
And the fact that it started in Canada and then trickled through multiple U.S. states is crazy.
This is truly like viral in the sense of like virus, including everything that you would not desire about a virus. Like this is, at this point, this is when I think you can say like, this is something that you should appreciate in the sense of like learn from this, because I think at the core of this, to a certain extent, is something I say very often, which I don't know why I just said that, but I do. Something your grandfather says very often. Hatred makes you stupid. Like it genuinely makes you stupid. In that it certain benefits of the doubt that I think are necessary in order to discern things clearly, you begin to skip over because now you've jumped from, it's like your enemy could never do anything good. So now your view of reality is not accurate. And that will begin to affect how you're able to render judgment on things. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's like the virus. The virus is like hatred. It's weird. It's interesting how the Bible emphasizes love. And just seeing the practical ramifications of living in a way that God did not really design you to live, if that is appropriate to say here. You know, God did not make you to just hate people en masse. So anyways, let's continue. Now, in September of 2022, in Colorado, Heidi Ganahl, the Republican candidate for governor of Colorado, began campaigning on the furry rumor. Not many people know that we have. Not many people know that. Not many people know that we have furries in Colorado schools.
Oh my
Kids
God.
identifying as cats. It's happening all over Colorado, and schools are tolerating it. And all said on a Denver radio show. And lucky for you, I've got a few clips of Heidi.
Oh my God.
Just in her bag.
Not many people know that we have.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So the volumes of all these videos are just random.
Okay.
Furries in Colorado schools. Have you heard about this, Jimmy? Yeah, kids identifying as cats. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's happening all over Colorado.
Okay, I'm sorry I keep pausing like right when I started the clip, but some of these quotes are just like, wait, what did you just say? Now stop.
It's happening in schools all over Colorado.
No. Where she said it sounds absolutely ridiculous. Maybe because it is.
Hopefully he comes in with a clear head, clears the urine, you know.
And schools are tolerating it. It's insane. What on earth are we doing? Knock it off. Schools, put your foot down. Like, stop it. Let's get back to teaching basics and not allow this woke ideological stuff infiltrate our schools. And it is happening here in Colorado. It's why I moved from Boulder Valley to Douglas County, because it was happening in my kids' schools 4 years ago.
Now, let me follow that up with when she was questioned. Yeah. Let me follow that up when she was questioned on that. Hopefully this isn't...
Were you being serious or facetious there?
Unfortunately, I was being serious. I've heard from parents all over Colorado. In fact, since this story went on air and a lot of the liberal media is saying this isn't real, I've gotten over 100 emails and text messages from parents across Colorado, even outside of Denver, that are talking about this weird phenomenon that's happening in classrooms when 60% of our kids can't read, write, or do math at grade level. That is ridiculous. We've got to focus on the basic blocking and tackling of teaching our kids how to read, write, and do math, and not put up with this nonsense in the class.
I'm going to go ahead and need you to not say blocking.
Blocking and tackling? What?
Yeah, I'm
They're after him for no reason.
Okay, I have every reason. You should never use freaking football analogies for like education. You seem so ridiculous.
You fit the stereotype.
Oh my gosh! Sorry, that just
no.
That triggered me, and I was like, "What on earth?"
No, you're fine. Here's something else that I need you to notice. This is a thing that, and this is just a criticism of right-leaning people and people who are generally in the space of like outrage content. For any at this point, it's a red flag when you hear the phrase "the liberal media." If you hear that phrase from a conservative commentator, like just stop listening, because what they're about to say is probably something that they are going to use to get you to react to something.
Yes.
It's at this point it has lost its usefulness. It's
shock and awe and bigly saying something.
Yes. Here's some more cat introduce some short.
For months. Schools tolerating kids dressing up as cats is not appropriate.
Those comments from...
Oh, okay, well that wasn't much, was it? But that might need to go on the soundboard.
Your assistant.
I'll come back to that one. So that was Heidi. It should be noted that she lost her election. So she ran on some bull jive and it didn't work out for her. Probably for the better.
She ran on some smoke and mirrors fear mongering.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Uncle murder warning.
Again, this is honestly, at this point, it's an indictment if you, as a person responsible for like decisions that will probably affect my well-being, can't get this one right. Like that's an indictment.
I mean, genuinely, yes.
Yeah, Yeah. And
if you don't have real scenarios where you're able to actually like follow up, you're just generically saying this has been happening in the schools. That's why I moved. Like, that's a very weird thing to say.
Yeah, actually it is.
I moved because there's furries in my kids' school. You very much should have verified that if you moved for it.
Either
That's
you
just
are,
a super weird thing to say.
It actually isn't. I'm glad you said that because I don't think I gave that statement its due spotlight on insanity.
And then she's trying to talk about like the current county she's in is wonderful and so much better than her crazy weird woke one where there were just furry children running around the streets with their litter boxes. I mean, she's clearly trying to like play the sides.
Ouch.
It's just crazy.
So
and when I have to say there's been a little like I don't even know.
Go ahead. Okay. Unless the Holy Spirit said no.
No, it's not that. I'm just trying to like formulate it.
Okay.
So
sure. Okay.
the way that she was acting is sometimes how I see when when they just question Trump about the tattoo dude that was like totally fake.
Let me just to be clear, Lauren's talking about there was a photoshopped tattoo person who had a tattoo of a gang, but it's photoshopped.
Like a gang
It was just to show that this is what the FBI thinks it says, but this was not the actual tattoo. Trump was convinced that this was the actual photo as presented. Continue.
Whenever he's like found in something that's not quite accurate, he'll just get really mad and loud and then start talking about something else.
Yep.
So it's kind of like what she was doing. And I'm not saying that's only him. I'm just saying politicians have weird tactics, obviously, from both sides. But like when she was like, that's unacceptable. And then she just jumps into like 60% of our kids can't even read. It's like, okay, that's a completely separate issue. And like if you have a weird like side thing that school's letting kids do that has nothing to do with them being illiterate.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be that much of a distraction.
Yes. Oh, exactly. Yes. That's a good connection. And
so
you have rightly pointed out a very tried and true strategy that politicians use. They attach something absurd to something that people genuinely care about.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Thank you.
No, you said it perfectly. You said it perfectly. So now we skip to October 3rd of the same year, 2022, when Representative Lauren Boebert, also of Colorado, told a Mesa County Republican women's luncheon, they are putting litter boxes in schools for people who identify as cats. Durango, I guess this is a city or something. Oh, no, it's a school district. Durango is doing this. Boebert claimed she heard it from a father whose kid, quote, stepped on a furry. Using it to stepped on a furry. What does that mean? Using it to argue schools had gone insane. Durango School District 9R immediately refuted Boebert's story as absolutely not true and clarified that no such thing was happening. District officials expressed concern that misinformation was being spread about their schools to score political points.
I guess not.
That perfect. I should add, not to necessarily shame her. She did finally say, I blew it. Lauren Boebert.
This is not the same person we just listened to in the clip.
Correct. It was. Yeah, this is a different woman.
Okay.
Lauren Boebert would later go on to be caught vaping in a theater and groping her man in the theater, which, you know what? I'm not saying that to like relitigate past sins. It's just it's kind of a funny ending to interesting career. But you know what? She said sorry. It's all good. Sometimes we reach out and grab that which we should not, or we reach out and grab that which we should not when we grab, but when it is now time not to grab. You feel
the devil hopes.
October 22, the same month, around the same time, the claim went fully mainstream in right-wing media. Podcast host Joe Rogan asserted that on an October 11th episode that a school had to install a litter box for a girl who identified as an animal. This was quickly proven false by reporters, and Rogan backtracked later. Here's the clip of Rogan perpetuating.
What year is this?
This is 2022, same year. Okay.
Ready for this? My friend, his wife, is a school teacher, and she works at a school that had to install a litter box in the girls' room
because there is a girl who's a furry who identifies as an animal, and her mother badgered the school until they agreed to put a litter box in one of the stalls. Imagine how crazy that is. You're a human being, and you prefer a litter box rather than use a bathroom that you could flush the toilet, wipe yourself like a normal person.
It should be noted that he's talking to Tulsi Gabbard, who is also I guess she might say I think she says she's a Republican, but she's also currently working under the Trump administration. Here is what's up?
Oh, interesting.
True, it's an internet rumor. So I contacted him again, and I said, tell me,
sorry, let me rewind.
school teacher.
Sorry.
I have a friend, and my friend's wife is a school teacher, and she told him that there was discussions in the school that a mother wanted to put a litter box in one of the bathrooms. And he told me this, and I talked about it on here, and then people were saying, that's not true, it's an internet rumor. So I contacted him again, and I said, tell me exactly what she said, and contact her and find out. She no longer works for that school. She works for another school. She contacted the other school. She didn't get a response. I don't think they actually did it. I think there was discussions about doing it because there was one particularly wacky mother, but it doesn't seem that there's any proof that they put a litter box in there. Out of all of my searching, I could only find one poster, one guy who said he had used a litter box. So this one person who was saying that he thought it was kinky and he liked to use it, he, they, it, them, whatever, liked to use a litter box. So that was all I could find.
Now, what was that for?
At the end of the day,
yeah, go ahead.
It's just so funny to me because there's definitely, actually, one of our favorite reporters, Ariel Hawani.
Oh, yeah.
And he's excellent at his reporting, sports reporter. But there's very few things he would get like salaciously, crazily wrong.
Yeah, facts.
Because he would really look things up very well before.
Yes.
Not wanting to be the person that's constantly like, well, what the heck? This. I know that hasn't been the trend, but it's so crazy to me that there's all these people going in very public spaces and they literally have no real scenarios. Like, I totally understand, like, I jumped to paranoia and thought this was very legitimate.
Yeah.
When you first told me about this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is our podcast going to be revealing all these terrifying stories of kids pooping in weird spots and like poor students teachers having to be like in charge of it.
Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily mean like now that you're playing things, I mean, clearly they're all just generically talking about it.
Yes.
Someone said,
yes,
I heard at so-and-so's friend's school, blah, blah, blah. Like, we know how rumors work and how, like, telephone the game works. Are we really wanting to go on, like, law floors and
it's like we all
say
played
these
that
things?
game as kids and just
What?
forgot. It's like we all played that games as kids.
Yeah.
And we forgot what the last person said.
It's crazy.
So
sorry.
No.
I'm
Never.
just like
You're. Please don't say sorry.
Bamboozled.
Please don't say sorry. So this was
hexahedron.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me skip forward. Okay, there was that incident. So I'm glad Rogan clarified. Hey, I was wrong. Likewise, at an October 27th campaign event, Don Bulldog, a representative, United States Senate candidate, in New Hampshire, proclaimed, "We have furries and fuzzies in classrooms." I actually think I have the clip, so let me speak. Let me let the man speak for himself. I gotta sit. Yeah, there's an ad here. I'm gonna have to mute because we ain't paid like that yet. We ain't paid to promote y'all business yet. But
we are pursuing.
Start really scary loud.
What's that?
And hopefully it's not as loud as the other ones.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So right now we're seeing an ad for a show called Criminal Minds. It's these cop shows that they get like 30 different spin-offs and crap.
Children in America are going to the bathroom in litter boxes
in their schools. That apparently needs to be said, because it is a conspiracy theory that a lot of Republican candidates out there.
Okay, here we go. So here's the
Hampshire. Guess what? We have furries and fuzzies in classrooms. They lick themselves. They're cats. When they don't like something, they hiss. They're putting litter boxes, right? Litter boxes for them. These are the same people that are concerned about spreading germs, yet they let children lick themselves and then touch everything. And they're starting to lick each other.
I think this is the worst one. Of all the people who made accusation as to what's going on in the schools, I think this is the worst one.
That feels like the worst one.
Like, I don't know what
because
kind of...
him saying this is happening on mass scale.
I think what makes this one the worst is that he was really convinced in this moment and almost said it in kind of like a unconcerned. It's just like almost just like outraged. But the substance of his outrage was that kids are licking themselves. Like, you really think kids are licking each other and themselves? Like, we're like, what universe are you in if that's plausible to you? Kids are just licking themselves? It almost like I might be getting some icky territory. I don't know what I'm about to step into. I hope I don't slip. It almost makes me question, like, what do you think about, like, when you're by yourself? I just can't fathom thinking that children would be licking each other.
Oh, is that what he said? Licking each other?
Yeah, it was a little bit hard to hear. There was like a phone ringing. There was a bunch of people talking.
I was like, what the heck?
But he said, here's the highlights. He said,
televised event.
Here's the highlights. And all this is just like completely absurd. He said, the kids act like animals. They hiss when they don't get what they want.
Okay, and by the way, I used to do that all the time. And like 2 years ago. So
you still do that sometimes.
I know. So, I mean, that's fine.
Okay. Well, Lauren's also weird. And then he followed up by saying, they lick themselves, so I assume he means like they're grooming themselves, like they're cleaning themselves like an animal. I don't care how in character you are, nary will you find somebody willing to lick themselves. Like a cat. Like, and then finally he I guess the cherry on top is that they lick each other. I don't know. I feel like Lauren, this isn't falling on you the way it is, so I'm gonna move on.
No, so is this during COVID? Why is he talking about germs?
I don't think that matters. I don't know.
Well, because if he's specifically saying
2022,
the same people
that was COVID. 2022 was COVID.
Okay.
But I don't know why you get hung up on that.
Because I was wanting to know, like, why he's saying the same people who care about germs. Like, why is he specifically talking about germs?
Emphasis. I respect that.
No, it's just crazy. I don't know. I have nothing to say because it's so crazy.
You've been blown out?
Yeah.
All right. Let me skip that one.
A hard no.
And skip to January of 2023. So this is what? This has been going on for 2 years now. North Dakota, undeterred by the lack of evidence, legislators in North Dakota took the rumor to the next level. 6 GOP state representatives introduced House Bill 1522 to ban schools from accommodating, quote, a student's perception of being any animal species other than human. The bill treated the made-up furry problem as serious. Okay, let me skip that part. Lawmakers explicitly cited the circulating litter box lies in justifying the bill.
Litter box lies.
During the testimony, proponents could not point to any actual incidents. One North Dakota school official explained the only use of cat litters in schools was an emergency go-to buckets for lockdown. So they do have cat litter at schools if there's like a school shooting. So that if they need to go to the bathroom in the class, they can.
In a sanitary way, yeah.
Right, exactly, yeah. So what you have is a from myth to legislation. That's kind of insane. Like that's kind of insane. From 100% myths to legislation. But let me remind everybody listening, and again, this is not to hurt anybody's feelings, other than just to try and, I don't know, just not just continue to reflect the way the world actually is, that God created it. Legislation from myth to reality also applies to gender ideology. There's some myth to reality that was turned into legislation. So I only say that to say the ha-ha that certain people might have for this, your pot meat kettle. You're kind of seeing an extreme version of something that maybe not even extreme. You're just seeing another manifestation on the other side of the spectrum of something that you yourself also perpetuate.
What time is it?
You know what I'm saying? What's that? Lauren, I think that's Lauren saying speed up.
No, I was saying, like, what time is it right now in our world? Like, this is nuts.
That's that end times clock. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. But I am almost finished. January 2024, Oklahoma. So now this has been going on for 3 years. Another dramatic reaction came in Oklahoma. State Representative Justin Humphrey filed House Bill 3084 for the 2024 session, aiming to punish students who dress and act like animals in school. That seems crazy to me.
Punish them?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
So he set up like a situation for this fake scenario?
Yeah, like what if kids want to
And also like that's not your job, by the way.
That's what yeah, exactly.
Call the parent.
For as much as conservatives are like anti like government controlling like your decisions and stuff and like restrictions.
Yeah, I'm not.
This is pretty much the opposite of that.
100%. Where is the school?
This is in Oklahoma.
Oh, Oklahoma.
Nah, don't do that. In an addressing and tongue-in-cheek provision, the bill suggested that if a student refused to stop such behavior, animal control could be called to remove the student from school grounds. Do you know how crazy that is? So this is in the legislation.
What?
I doubt a school teacher would actually like call animal control.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to be a straight up serial killer to do that.
Literally.
But the fact that it's in the legislation.
And
by the way, what's animal control going to show up and like put them in a kennel?
Like
like you're asking people to do things that are kind of evil, actually.
Not kind of, fully evil.
Like how could you
that's gonna scare a kid any age? That would be so weird.
How could you, as someone responsible for guiding children and leading children, why would you dream of treating them, even if someone is acting like an animal? Why would you dream of treating them like one in that way?
Yes.
We're like, okay, you want to act like an animal? Fine. Put the noose thingy around their neck.
That's what I was just picturing.
Yeah, right.
Like, I mean, clearly the person who wrote this or approved it, they're so mad at this whole concept. They're like, we'll teach you.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it's kind of weird.
100% weird.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
If you want to do some weird therapy for your kid to like pull them back, that makes sense, but not for other people's children.
To be fair, so Humphrey, I think the person who proposed the legislation said the animal control idea was a sarcastic exaggeration to, quote, prove a point. Okay, well, we got it.
I know,
point
but
proven.
Still.
No. The point he's proving is that he's not attached to reality, I guess. I'm starting to get nasty. So he's nasty. Okay, there's also a quote. Someone says, Dolan says Humphrey's bill would punish kids for using their imaginations. So, I'm sorry. This is the article writer. So Humphrey says, do I want to see kids be creative? Absolutely. Pretending to be something you're not is not artistic. Isn't that just like straight up false? So acting is not artistic?
And that's messed up. Because actually, it is a good practice to put your head in a different space.
Correct.
And like think of yourself being,
yeah.
You know, just like if you're trying to write a story or if you're...
Yes. Pretending to be something you're not is extremely creative.
I mean, that's imagination at its core. Oh really?
Oh my God.
I'm someone who can fly. Wait, that's evil and stupid.
Oh my gosh. And that brings us to March 13th, 2025. So this has been going on.
What? Since 2021?
Since 2021.
And those were all legitimate, like, politicians and school board people.
This is truly a virus. Like, this is literally a virus.
Crazy.
This is like COVID. We got COVID and furry mania at the same time. Texas Furries Act. Texas State Representative San Gerdes filed House Bill 54, cheekily titled the Forbidding Unlawful Representation of Role-Playing in Education Act. HB 54 proposes to ban any non-human behavior, in public schools. This meant students must present themselves as human and could not dress or behave as animals. The bill explicitly listed forbidden examples, including wearing tails, ears, collars, leashes, fur costumes, or any accessories designed for pets, making animal noises like barking or hissing, using a litter box to relieve oneself, even licking oneself for grooming was included in the prohibited acts. Is this not just like that? Like, this is the this is hard. This is hard to read.
This is Texas, right?
This is Texas. This is hard to read.
So, like, there's a lot of paraphernalia, like
cat ears,
cute cat ear headbands, necklaces that are chokers that look like collars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like dog collar stuff.
Yeah,
goth vibes.
And
by the way, these aren't made for dogs, but I could see a teacher thinking, "Oh, you're wearing a dog collar."
Yeah, getting someone in trouble for just like normal paraphernalia.
Yeah, like imagine like going to like anime club and pointing at like two girls wearing cat ears and saying, "Hey, you guys."
Yeah. Or also like if you go to a Ren fair, 70% of those people have tails.
Yeah, but that's not in school though.
I know, but I'm just saying, like certain.
It's pretty normal.
It's just like not a weird. Normal, yeah. That doesn't mean that they're a furry. They're just like.
Look, do you tell me if this is fair?
Okay.
I almost feel like as an adult looking at kids doing this and turning it weird. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's like
trying to legislate. No.
I'm saying you as an adult observing like kids wearing cat tails or whatever, dress up animal adjacent.
Okay.
And thinking of that as anything other than a pure expression of their imagination, I feel like that in itself is like kind of evil.
Oh, 100%. That's not kind of. Yeah. Like if you're thinking you need to break and stop this to this degree, you have to be sexualizing it, or you
That's
have
what I'm
to
saying.
be, or you have
That's
to
like
be
really creepy. Actually,
I mean, genuinely, that's probably now that you're saying it like that. That's actually terrifying.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, why would
that's
you impose
deciding
that on them?
That what they're doing is a bedroom situation.
Exactly. It's like if you identify it and you see it, call it out. But don't impose that on the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
because that's a totally different
that's coming
thing,
from the part. Sorry, go ahead.
An adult doing it. That's like completely different.
Yeah, and that's like this type of and like this is
not to say that they shouldn't be able to, but.
This is coming from the people who would say that like we don't want, and I think rightly, we don't want these kids to be educated about, stuff before they're ready to learn
100%.
Or even stuff that's just.
But you're sexualizing something.
Yeah, but
that's
then
actually kind of just a normal kid expression.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they're demanding a litter box, but that's clearly not happening. Like
anywhere, anywhere. Yeah, see, Lauren's still kind of like, well, it could happen. Oh my gosh. So let me continue. The bill set harsh penalties. Students could be removed from class, suspended, or expelled for violating the law. Schools that, quote, encourage non-human behavior by, say, tolerating it could face fines of $10,000 to $25,000. Yeah, schools already broke. It would just become broker. And teachers would be required to report violators to the state attorney general. So they turned teachers into snitches for not reporting. Hey. Did you
snitches get stitches?
Did you write up Tanya? She had a
cat headband.
She had a leopard sweater on.
Oh, you didn't? $10,000. Pay us now. This is just like this is new. So this is the government looking for more money from somewhere else. Honestly,
in a startling twist, the bill even sought to amend the state family code to classify any school allowing or encouraging a child to believe they are non-human as child abuse. The final, I guess, I don't know. Just this story ends in April 2025 when there was a hearing, and this is essentially someone admitting, hey, well, before we get to that, yeah, I gotta play this one. This dude's proposing a bill I don't know who this guy's name is. I have it written here somewhere, but I'm kind of losing my mind.
Man, we just came up here, to have fun.
Yeah, play that. So here's the triumphant music. But I hope
Texas classrooms should be a place of learning, not distractions by attention seekers who disrupt with their bizarre behavior, pretending to be animals. That's why I've joint authored House Bill 54. This bill ensures that schools focus on education, not bizarre role-playing trends of animal behavior that some have seen. You may have seen or heard about these trends in schools. School spirit events and theater performances will continue, but this disruptive animal behavior has no place in Texas schools. Our children deserve serious learning environments that prepare them for the future. I'll always fight and stand for our conservative Texas values. Thank you. God bless you, your family, and the great state of Texas.
It's given everything we've discussed on the podcast today. Hearing that is like an out of body experience. It's like Doctor Strange, the bald lady in the Doctor Strange movie, punching you in the chest and just you fly out of your body for a second and you just have to listen to what she has to say. That's what he just did to us. This is so detached from reality.
White, older adult, straight, he, him, his.
It's so removed from anything actually happening in the world that it's hard for me to like understand like where you
and when he closes it with like our strong Texas values.
God bless you.
God bless you all.
Yeah. It's hard. It's tough, man. It's tough. So in the same state, there was. I'm
just really, really over mixing government and politics with
when
faith.
You're not.
And Southern stuff just getting like, our good values.
I don't know if this is worth listening to. This is just a random content creator.
Birds in Texas public schools if State Rep Stan Gerdes has his way. He just introduced the Furries Act, and Furries stands for Forbidding Unlawful Representation of Role-Playing in Education. And this law apparently is necessary in Texas, and it prohibits any non-human behavior by a student. The idea is so that teachers can actually just focus on teaching the humans and not petting cats. Okay, cats.
Yeah, she's like the way she breathes in is very distracting.
Okay, the reason I did want to play this, like. Okay, here's what it is for me. It's the confidently quote unquote owning your enemies when like you're the fool. You're the fool in this situation. Mm-hmm. You're confidently speaking to something that you haven't even bothered to even question.
I mean, do you know anything? Do you even know?
What does a cat do?
I just can't. Like this is humbling.
Yeah.
Lord, spare me from being this wrong. God, please send a Nathan into my life. Like this is
Nathan the prophet.
Yeah.
Tell you
this is terrifying. Like just being this wrong over something like this is.
Your eyes just keep bugging out.
This is like unbelievable.
I mean, clearly your research assistant. That is a heap load of research that got done. This is a huge topic, and this has been going on from years. Canada to the States and for years, and with multiple professional people at like high levels.
Like, how has this passed so many checks? So many people have failed their intelligence check.
Don't say that around that one lady. She'll get mad at you.
So it means you're not allowed to use a litter box for the passing of stool, urine, or other human byproducts. This is very radical. No.
That's not this thing you think it is. It's just not.
It's not because like we wouldn't allow that in the first place. Like this just wouldn't exist.
No, there's not a teacher. There's probably like one teacher in the universe who's sick enough to like just let kids.
Wearing tails, leashes, collars, or fake ears. Aw, boo-hoo.
No, don't do that. Because that is a boo-hoo.
Yeah, and then her laughing, going, poor babies. You mean you're going to restrict someone wearing an appropriate garb to school that's just slightly creative and has like some kind of like animal edge.
Yeah.
God forbid they have like
An
a
imagination.
turtle shell that they want to wear because they love Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. She probably didn't.
I would just find that adorable.
She didn't get let in the anime. She didn't get let in the anime club. It was full.
I mean,
When she tried to join it in her school. It was full.
Clearly.
So.
No barking, no meowing, no hissing or other animal noises. I assume that also includes growling. No growling, kids.
Wait, why'd she growl? Why did she growl?
No licking oneself or others for grooming. And there are also a bunch of little rules, like, there are exceptions, like if it's Halloween and they're celebrating or there's a school play, things like that. But there should be no more than 5 of those days per year where there are exceptions that children can come in dressed as a costume. And they still don't get to, bring in a litter box. Hello, America.
Now,
Hello, America.
I'm just going to read one comment. How did we get to this? To think a law needs to be made to stop such a ridiculous behavior. Thank God things are switching back to normal us.
What?
At every point, there's people who are like, it's like their soul is shouting, help. Like, know the truth. Because they'll sell things like, to think a law needs to be made to stop such ridiculous behavior. How did we get to this? Oh, we actually didn't. We're not here yet. We haven't gotten there. It's just like this weird, like, mass beclowning. I've never seen so many pairs of shorts fall down at the same time. And this is like, this is unreal. This is unreal.
Someone is
I don't know if I can continue this episode. I'm more shocked. Even though I already went over this, like, I'm like shocked afresh.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why I've just been like consuming over here. This is insane.
When God is like even though God, knowing everything that will happen in the course of history, says in the present that he lamented making man, even though he knew man would rebel. Like, I get it now. Like, because I knew everything I was gonna bring up on the podcast today, but I've in it live right now. I feel hurt.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Now, the final thing I would like to reference is there was I don't know if this is a glimmer of hope, but there was a meeting where someone questioned Greg Abbott, who I think is someone pushing this, one of the laws in Texas with furries or whatever, to reference any school where this has happened that they're aware of.
Where it has been confirmed that students are using litter boxes?
Well, what we do with this bill is we prevent that from happening, but what we don't take out.
Can you name a school where it has been confirmed that students are using litter boxes? This was at the top of your press release. This was mentioned when you introduced this bill, created quite a stir. So I'm asking, can you name a school where it's been confirmed that there are litter boxes being provided to students?
For this purpose, no, I cannot.
Your tweet about this.
What?
Yeah, he said he couldn't, but he's pushing a law forward. Though he is not.
This is recent, right?
Yeah. This is April. Yeah, or March, I think. March. No. This is maybe it's April. This might have been.
I
April.
mean, either way, it's like.
Yeah. It's 2025.
2 month span.
2025. Yeah. What can we all learn from this? Listen.
What we should all learn is expect someone to have questions. Like, if you're going to come into a space and be big stepping about something really strange, be prepared for the basic question of where is this from? When did it happen?
Oh my gosh.
Who was involved?
Oh my gosh.
Like, now we're talking basic education. Where, what, when, why? Like all the W's.
Yeah.
This is kind
of surreal. I will just say.
I mean, it really points out to what you keep saying, but like, sin and hate can make you dumb.
Yeah, it makes you stupid, man.
It really does, because it's like
humble yourself.
Yeah,
I think part adjacent to hatred is pride. There's a thinking
for
that
sure.
You're so like there are people who are unworthy of you or even unworthy of life because of the things they've done or the things they believe.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to model worthiness.
I just can't. I guess this has been an interesting
journey together.
Journey of just like living in a time where there's a phenomenon that I think is worthy of like the history books, or at least like a long Wikipedia entry.
I mean, more than that, I would say, yeah.
This is a pretty unique. It's kind of weird because there's literally no basis.
Yeah.
This has no basis in reality.
Please try to submit this to Channel 5. Because I need like a documentary on this, and I need to know like the source.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Well,
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
All I'm saying, this has been our longest episode ever, but I hope the content was worthy of you locking in. Did you like it, Lauren?
I did, and I'm appreciative with things like this to get to the scale of all of it.
Yes.
There's really a lot of meat.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that were involved and a lot of genuine incidents and real. I appreciated you sharing all of that because it felt like a full story of why this is such a big deal.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Because this was, I had no idea this many people were involved. And states and years and parents.
And just
full hysteria.
Truly.
Like.
Truly.
Yeah.
All right.
Awakening.
Thank you guys for locking in. We love you, and hopefully we'll have something just as exciting for you next week.
Love you.
Peace.
Oh, happy Mother's Day, late Mother's Day.